international level in the decision-making process regarding financial issues.
This 2009 Police Officers Conference was today opened with a call from President Bart Jagdeo for officers to expand their scope and become more acquainted with global issues.
And later in sport, Guyanese and West Indies batting sensation Shivnarine Chanderpaul is awarded the Kasich Crown of Honor for his achievements at the reception hosted in his honor.
The details of these and other stories, and of course the latest sporting action in the Diamond Mineral Water and MTN Sport News. Good evening, I'm Natasha Smith.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Thursday, March 18, 2009. Here's what's happening.
Thanks, Natasha. President Bart Jagdeo says the developing world needs to be more involved at the international level in the decision-making process regarding financial issues. The President made this comment while addressing the annual Police Officers Conference today. Details of this report.
President Bart Jagdeo has reiterated that the global financial crisis is likely to deepen and once again cautioned that developing countries like Guyana will not be spared the wrath of this. He, however, noted that with a strong banking sector like Guyana, the effects will not be devastating like some other countries.
Our banking sector is sound, solid from every perspective. Our holdings abroad are just a minimal part of the financial sector investment. So most of our money is here.
The President, however, explained that based on the CL financial fiasco in Trinidad and the failure of Clico Bahamas, in which Clico Guyana invested 53% of its assets, the problems were imported here. The Russian-trained economist also noted that the firewalls his administration spoke to since the crisis began had paid dividends. He highlighted that a number of initiatives were taken to disassociate this country from the ravages of the crisis since last year.
Today, our significant reserves that were held in various assets are stable because we have disengaged from risky assets with their great return, and we have a reserve in safer instruments. We have passed a budget that is larger than the budget last year, and even the spending will be very different. We are going to spend in a very labor-intensive fashion today.
Meanwhile, the President has urged that the developed world play a greater role in the global discussion on the crisis, as he highlighted that failure to do so will leave them behind.
If we are not careful about the architecture that is being actively formulated at this point in time for global trade, global environmental governance, global financial governance, countries like ours sometimes we sit at the back table.
The President has also urged local academics to get involved in debates on national position at the regional and national levels. He expressed dissatisfaction with the University of Guyana, the country's premier learning institution, for not being involved at any level in these discussions. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
President Bart Jagdeo has received letters of credence from 3 non-resident ambassadors to Guyana from the Ukraine, Egypt, and Japan. The ambassadors each vowed to strengthen bilateral relations. Egypt's ambassador previously served in the same capacity in New York, Bangkok, Amman, and Stockholm. He is presently ambassador to Brazil and director of the Department of International Conference in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Egypt. The ambassador says his work would be to enhance relations in all areas and strengthen coordination on the international scene at the level of the United Nations, the Non-Armed Movement, and the African South America Forum, among others. Meanwhile, Ukraine's ambassador to Guyana is Vladimir Lakomov, is also serving as ambassador to Brazil. Japan's ambassador, His Excellency Tatsaki Iwata, is also appointed ambassador to Grenada, Suriname, and St. Lucia, among others. President Bart Jagdeo has dispelled claims by Guyanese drug baron Shahid Raja Khan of him supporting the government of Guyana's crime-fighting efforts and had constant contact with a number of senior officials. The President told reporters today that he has never had any conversation with Khan and is unaware of his claims. Edward Lane reports.
Responding to questions by the media today regarding Raja Khan's claims that he was supporting government, President Bart Jagdeo said the self-confessed drug accused had made many statements in the past, none of which he paid any heed to.
was undermining the government of Ghana. He said that he had taped conversations with people sharing information who were linked to the drug dealers. I have never put any store on what Roger Khan has said in the past or not said. I never decided whether he is guilty or not guilty.
The head of state said if Khan pleads guilty as charged, then he must face the consequences. When asked to clarify Khan's claims that he had been in contact with the president and government ministers, Mr. Jagdeo said he is not aware of this.
Did you ever have contact with him? No, never. But he's sending government ministers, one former cabinet minister and a current one, who are in regular contact with him. Well, I don't know about that, but I never had any contact with him.
On the question of the whereabouts of the equipment local police seized from Khan back in 2006, Commissioner Henry Green said that it is still in the force's possession.
So what do you intend to do with it? To throw up his evidence.
Shahid Roger Khan, a Guyanese businessman who has been in a U.S. prison since 2006, pleaded guilty on Monday to multiple counts of drug trafficking charges. Khan was also charged with witness tampering, possession of firearms, and a number of other charges in the U.S. He is likely to face 15 years imprisonment. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
The new Skeldon Sugar Factory may be ready for takeover by Gaisuco pending the successful completion of the current 72-hour test run. This is according to China National Technical Import and Export Corporation site manager Andrew Jin, who says the factory has shown a 96% efficiency rate. Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad, Gaisuco Interim Board Chairman Dr. Nanda Kishore Gopal, and PNCR member of the Economic Services Committee Anthony Vera visited the factory early today to observe the testing process. Minister Prasad says the results are very encouraging, but adds that trial runs will continue into the next crop. He notes that in excess of 16,000 tons of sugar has been produced at a rate of 200 tons per hour. This rate is expected to increase to 350 tons per hour with time. Economic Services Committee member Anthony Vera has expressed optimism about the current successes, noting that all should be happy about the new factory. Several Clico sales representatives were today made to evacuate the Lamaha branch by this evening. NCN has learned that this is a cost-cutting move by the management of the embattled insurance company, which is currently under judicial management. Details from Anika Jones.
Today, the Clico Lamaha Street branch was a hive of activities as sales representatives were made to pack their belongings in an effort to be relocated to the Camp Street head office. The representatives say they were told to pack their belongings since it's the final day for them at that location. Without further inquiry from management, the representatives proceeded to do so. NCN visited the office and was told by representatives that a meeting was held last Monday with Substantive's Chief Executive Officer Gita Singh Knight. The representatives say at that point they were not informed that the company would take such action. Subsequently, a meeting was held with Mr. Singh Knight where the employees were informed that they are being relocated to the company's head office.
She's saying that they were relocating us to the head office because they want to cut back on costs.
Efforts to get a comment from the former CEO were unsuccessful. Not this moment, please. The Lamaha Street staffers have also lamented non-payment since January. Meanwhile, a senior official of government has reaffirmed that the administration remains committed to guaranteeing the safety of policyholders. Clico Guyana slipped into difficulty after Clico Bahamas, who holds 53% of the local subsidiary, became affected by the global credit crunch. Commissioner of Insurance Maria Van Beek, who is now the judicial manager of Clico Guyana, said last week that some additional 4 weeks was needed to adequately assess the solidity of Clico Guyana's standing. Monica Jones, the 6 o'clock news.